Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Michelah Desnai again, and I haven't really made one of these videos in like a while. Well, I made the one about me going to a PWI. But yeah, so I decided to sit down and make another video about like a story time situation. And I just want to say that I want to thank everyone who's been like reaching out about the like anxiety medication video that I made. It feels good to like hear you guys' stories and ask you guys' questions. I try to like answer any questions that you guys have, but I am in no way a doctor, right? So I'm just someone who's taken anxiety medication and depression medication. So if you guys have questions, I would really encourage you to like talk to a doctor or a psychologist or someone who is actually, trained in that field. I can only tell you about like my personal experience. I can't tell you like dosage and all this other stuff. Like I just really can't. So I'm happy to like answer questions, but if you guys have any like serious questions about like you guys' experience and how it's going to affect you and all this other stuff, I really can't. I just was telling my story. Speaking of my story, today I'm going to do another story, medical story, about my experience with endometriosis. So I'm just going to tell you guys the story, and you guys can, take it how you want to take it, and it'll be just telling about my experience with endometriosis. A lot of people have been, telling stories, and I've been seeing it come up a lot on like TikTok and all this other stuff. So I just really wanted to tell my story about my experience with like endometriosis. So here we go. So I started to notice that I was having pains in my side when I was like 12 or so, and I guess that has to do with like puberty or me starting my period or something like that. So this was when I was playing basketball and I was taking singing lessons. So when that happened, I went to the doctor. I went to my pediatrician at that time, and they told me that, oh, it's like basically you have your blood cells sticking together. So that's kind of like what I thought. They said when we work out, our blood cells stick together, and that's what causes the pain. The pain got like gradually worse as I got older, and it really wasn't until in high school there was another girl who had cyst issues, and she said like she was having problems or something like that, and I was like, oh, like I think I might have that issue, but I didn't really know, and they had told me that I had blood cells sticking together, and I wasn't on birth control actually, in high school. So what happened was in university, my first year of uni, that was when I started drinking, and I think that's kind of what kind of like exacerbated the symptoms or whatever. But what happened was I started drinking my freshman year of college, and I was drinking like very heavily. I had like some personal things going on, and I was partying very heavily. And what I have researched is that alcohol inflames cysts. So the cysts that I had on my side were like, I guess, starting to like become inflamed or something. And I remember one time specifically where I was laying in bed and I was like doing French homework, and the pain hit me like so bad. I just like laid down and I was like, this is like the worst it's ever been. But like what's kind of crazy is like that amount of pain I had normalized, completely normalized. I was like, this is just like the amount of pain that I have. And then I mentioned it to my roommate at the time, and she was like a biology major, and she was like, your blood sticking together doesn't really sound normal, but okay, whatever. So around this time, I was actually working at the Louis Armstrong house in Queens, in Corona, Queens. If you guys got a tour for me, let me know. So I was living in the Bronx, and I was going all the way to Queens. And if you guys are familiar with New York, then like that's like a 2-hour train ride. I wasn't doing it every day. I just was doing it like on the weekends, and it was like fun because I'm really a huge fan of Louis Armstrong, and I really loved the job. So after the training, I'm just laughing about it. So after the training, I was supposed to go like for my first day. When I was on the train, I started to get like in a lot of pain. And I was like, okay, like I really need to go to the bathroom. Like, I don't know what's going on. So I got off at the next stop and I just like couldn't walk or whatever. And I don't really know what exactly happened. So I don't really know what exactly happened, but I remember making it up the stairs and I was like, I was like going in and out of consciousness. I remember like walking to a guy who had like a little bodega. It was on 42nd Street. I remember like walking to the guy's bodega and I was like, call someone. And I actually collapsed like on his chips and then like fell down. And then I was actually like out of consciousness. And I remember I woke up to like the cops like coming to me and they were saying like, oh, you don't drink that much. And I was like, nah, I don't drink that much. I don't drink that much. And so they ended up calling. They thought it was like that I hadn't eaten and that I had passed out or whatever. But like that amount of pain was like, I've never experienced anything like that. Like I've never experienced like the pain like that before. I think that was like in all of my times of like having endometriosis, that was like the worst pain I've ever experienced, because it like I've never had a heart attack or a stroke or anything, but like in my mind that's what I thought it was, because my lower legs had gone numb. I couldn't really move them. That could have also been from me hyperventilating. I don't really know. I was going in and out of consciousness. The pain was so bad. As soon as they got me in the ambulance, they gave me morphine and I was like feeling a lot better. But what got me was like the guy in New York, like I was in so much pain, and like when they got me to the hospital, they were like, okay, we need you to give us a urine sample, change your clothes and all sorts of stuff. And I don't think that they realized that like I was dying. Like I literally couldn't walk. I was like not in and out of consciousness. They're like, okay, do all this and do. I was like, what are you talking about? Like I just laid there, like I didn't move or whatever. They gave me morphine. I was able to change out of my clothes and stuff. So what got me was like the guy who, when they were doing it, I was like 18, 19 at the time. Like I had never been to an obstetricianist before during that time. And the guy, he comes in, he like does an internal exam, and he was really rough. Like I was literally screaming. It was the most like traumatic thing ever. And then like I called my friend who like had a car at the time. He came and he was like, I heard you screaming, like what was going on? I was like, bruh, he was so rough. Like I do not know. He was extremely rough. He didn't take any like precautions to me being young or anything like that. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna stab you. Like basically what that was. They ended up doing another internal exam, and this time it was a woman, and she like kind of like was more gentle and like explained what was going on, and it was not painful at all. So they found, I think, 3 cysts, 2 on one ovary, 1 on the other. And they explained to me that they were chocolate cysts. And they had been bleeding. They didn't burst, but they had been bleeding on each other, and were leaking. And the option was given to me, like, you could either have surgery or you could, like, just wait for them to go away. And I was already like really upset about that whole situation, so I ended up leaving, going home, and they told me to go to the doctor, but wherever they told me to go, like I had to take the train there from the Bronx, and it was in Midtown, and I was in pain, and when I got there, they really were like, oh, well, we don't know what's going on, so I don't really know. It was like very nonchalant. So I ended up going, my mom was like, yeah, come home. So I ended up going home to Virginia, where I'm from, and my mom got me a specialist. So the specialist was like, okay, yeah, so you have 3 cysts. They're not like super large. They're large, but they're not like super large that you need to get them removed right away. And usually what happens when you like get them removed is that you have issues with fertility if they mess up or something like that. So the best advice for you to have is to just go on birth control, and we'll give you Vicodin. So that's what happened. I went on birth control, and they put me on Vicodin for the pain. But in reality, like I had to take like 2 weeks off of school, and it was like horrible. My professors wanted to fail me. Like I was like, okay. So I ended up going back to school, but I still had the cysts. So whenever they would flare up or something like that, I would take Vicodin, and it kind of became really hard for me to like complete work and stuff like that because I was very sick. Like, I know like people watch like House MD and stuff, but like I really don't understand how people like take Vicodin and like live and stuff like that because it makes me so ill. And also like I still wanted to like experience like college life and stuff, but I couldn't really experience it that much because, well, no, I experienced it, but like it seemed like every month or every couple of days, like I was in pain. So there were days I just couldn't walk or whatever. So I ended up, finishing school, and like this was kind of like how I expected my life was going to be, that I was going to be in pain for all this time, and I was going to like stay, with these cysts, and that was what was going to happen. But every time I went, they were like, okay, this one went away, another one came back, and that was the only treatment that I was getting was the birth control. So I went through college, I went to university, and I graduated. I ended up going to New Zealand, working, and then I came back, and I went on a road trip with someone that I was seeing at the time. Again, what happened was I was drinking a lot in New Orleans, and the cyst started to like expand on itself, or it didn't burst, but it was like expanding on itself. And I had to go to the emergency room, but it was like when they were doing the internal ultrasound, it was like the worst like experience of my life. So that was like, years of my life. So then I moved to Paris, and I would come back to Virginia sometimes to get my kind of like my exams done and everything. And I think at one point they said I didn't have a cyst, so they took the Vicodin away from me. So I only had like Tylenol and stuff like that to like deal with the pain. So I remember going to a doctor in Paris, and an obstetrician in Paris, and they were like, okay, well, what we can do is we can give you this birth control, but this birth control doesn't have how like the birth control, it has like 28 days of like the actual pill, and then like I don't know 5 days of like the placebo or something like that. So they were saying that any birth control you take, you can skip the placebo, but the ones in Paris or whatever, or the ones that they were prescribing, they didn't have the placebo. They were just like, you just don't take it for 5 days. But the guy said, it is possible for you to skip those days, and it could help you. So I said, I would try it because it was a lot, right? Because I was working, I was in a lot of pain. I couldn't really do a lot of stuff, right? So I was like, okay, I'll try it. So when I started skipping that, I really my life kind of changed. I realized that like I wasn't out of commission for like a week or so, and then my life pretty much kind of changed. And this is kind of like where I am now with my endometriosis. The only thing is, right, I have noticed, like I have researched that you need to have a period like every 3 months, which is what I try to do. Sometimes I don't always do it, I'm not gonna lie. Hopefully there's no like long lasting consequences, but I try to, have one at least every 3 months or so. So this is kind of where I am right now in my endometriosis story. The only thing that has given me any relief has been the pills and not taking the placebo pills, and my life has actually changed. It's just kind of like been like, okay, I can like survive and like not be worried about being sick or anything. I don't have to worry about going places. I can work. I don't have to go home, work early. I don't have to be in extreme pain. So this is kind of like what's worked for me. If anyone's struggling with like endometriosis or like ovarian cysts like I am, I haven't been back to an obstetricianist in a long time, which I need to do that. But yeah, so that's pretty much what's worked for me. I really just wanted to like take the story and tell you guys about my endometriosis story and everything that's been going on. But that's where I am now with endometriosis. I'm living my life. I don't have pain that often, and if I do, it's like rare. Like it's like once a month or like once every 2 to 3 months, and it's not as bad as it was. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, don't forget to comment below. I'll be back with like more videos. I just got back from Rwanda playing a show, so I've been like very busy. But if you guys have any more questions, let me know. If you have any video ideas, let me know. But I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff on this channel. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. Bye.